things up too. All
Give
right,
me,
go ahead.
give me a period in the private message when it shows it's live for you.
It is already live, my guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
all
here we
right.
go.
Here we go. Well, we're here Sunday morning, hour and a half before game time here. I'm just rocking the locks. I got my pair of fan locks on, getting ready for the game myself. So make sure you go check them out. They have every color combination you could ever think of. But yeah, we're gonna talk some Packers football, Packers Chargers, the ins, the outs. We're gonna go over our score predictions, our keys to the game, pretty much every some major segments that happen on Friday nights. If you're not able to catch us live, we're gonna recap them today.
Yep.
With that being said, I'm excited. I think the Packers have a real opportunity to win this game today, especially seeing some transactions that have been going on. One set of bad news for the Packers, but we are gaining two good things out of it, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
we'll go over that in a sec here. So Tyler, how you doing, buddy?
Super. Getting ready for the Packers, and I myself have a playoff basketball game today. So
Hey,
got some, just sports going on like always.
hell yeah, baby.
So we can start with the injury report. As Jake said, we have some good news, some bad news, unfortunately. Jake and I are both bad news first guys, so we're going to start with that.
Yep.
Unfortunately, no Jair Alexander today and no Rudy Ford today. Rudy Ford was already listed as doubtful, so he is confirmed out, which is it's exciting for Anthony Johnson Jr. He gets a chance to make another start now.
It is.
But Rudy Ford has been a pretty steady player in the Packers secondary. Not having Jair is tough, although it does sound, based on the Chargers injury report, they elevated two wide receivers, including former Wisconsin Badger Alex Erickson. So
Yes,
that
sir.
might mean that even though Keenan Allen is expected to play, that he might be limited.
Yeah. Might be like see how you feel kind of approach. Maybe he will only be on a snap count, kind of like the Packers did with Aaron Jones.
And Romeo Doubs in the first game.
Yeah, Romeo Doubs. A few things that I wanted to just talk about was the ticket packages. I saw a lot of people tweeting out, posting in Packers pages, that this is a Milwaukee package game, and they seen a lot of Chargers fans around Green Bay this weekend, and it's like, I swear to God, if there's a full stadium of Chargers fans on a Milwaukee package game, I'm gonna be pissed, dude. Just like the Lions game, I'm gonna be pissed.
Brian said the Chargers returned tickets to the Packers too, though.
Yeah, but that's you got to think they could if they could save money, get $100 off each ticket from buying it from somebody who's a season ticket holder. Why wouldn't they do that? You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, just looking at the other side of the coin. Obviously, we won't know until the game happens, but
yeah.
All right. So the good news is, first, that Rashawn Gary is playing. He was kind of limited during the week, kind of questionable going into this game. But the big good news, Quay Walker is back. Oh my God, did the Packers miss him last week? The Packers missed Quay Walker so badly last week.
Yes.
I talked about it on Friday night's show. 16 missed tackles is it's inexcusable. It's unacceptable. Any word that you want to use for it being not okay, that's what the Packers tackling was last week. Reggie said, "Cheers, boys! Had a successful hunt this morning. Nice.
That's awesome. How big? How many points you got on there, baby?
Comment right there.
My cousin Corey. Shout out to my cousin Corey. He got a deer the other day. I believe it was yesterday morning. My dad texted me. Yesterday morning, I believe. My cousin Corey got a deer, and because I forgot on Friday, I apologize. I wanted to give a shout out to my buddy Keith from work. He had kidney cancer. He had surgery. It was successful. He sent me a very disgusting photo, but I'm very happy that Keith is doing okay.
All right. So now that we got the injury report out there, we got an 8-pointer, he said.
Hey, nice. That's pretty good.
I will update the keys to the game that we had from Friday night. Jake's key to the game was to actually was the red zone on both ends of the field. I'm going to talk about the red zone for my key, but Jake's thing was that the Chargers on the road still have a 63% touchdown percentage in the red zone. Then I looked at my key to the game was finished between the 10 and the 20-yard line. So Jake's other side of the coin was for the red zone on both sides. The Green Bay Packers are 27th in red zone touchdown percentage. My key was to finish between the 10 and the 20 because the Packers are actually number 1 in the NFL in goal-to-go situations, which means they go from first overall from the 10 and in to 27th overall from the 20 and in, which means they're very unsuccessful in the 10 to 20-yard line area in scoring touchdowns.
That is insane how big of a drop that is.
It's wild how much of a difference 10 yards makes.
Yeah. Wow.
And then Bryant's point was kind of similar, kind of on the same wavelength, was touchdowns, not field goals.
Yep.
So that's where that stagnation between the 10 and the 20-yard line cannot happen if you're going to beat the Chargers today.
Yeah.
Because the Chargers, even if Keenan Allen is limited, they still have a high-powered offense. They still have Justin Herbert and Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
So the Packers, if they want to keep pace in a potential shootout, it has to be touchdowns, not field goals. So they can't be settling for 30-yard field goals from the 13-yard line. It needs to get all the way into the end zone for 6.
Agreed. Big
okay. Jake, what were our score predictions?
So here's the score predictions. I'll start with Bryant. Bryant's score prediction from the head was 28-20 Chargers. And his score prediction from the heart was 28-27 Green Bay. That would be an exciting game. That would be a lot of touchdowns, a lot of yards, a lot of crazy plays from Love and Herbert, which obviously the NFL fans would love.
Here for.
Yeah, right. Your score prediction from the head was 27-17 Chargers. And your score prediction from the heart was 27-23 Green Bay. Do I have that written down correctly?
You do.
All right. My score prediction, and this is the first time I had to do this all year, but it was kind of like this one is going to be a close game, but it might be too much to overcome because Herbert is just absolutely a stud. I have 27-23 Chargers on the road. And then from the heart, I have 24-20 Green Bay. So I also, because I knew we were going to be going live, I looked up some numbers here. And I have, hold on, let me get to it here. I have a lot of Buck stats, so I apologize.
Yeah, scroll past those. Save those for Wednesday.
Yeah, dude, I always have to like go back in my photos and go back like 15 photos. Like, okay, so I have this stat, I have this stat, I have this stat. So overall, the Packers are 10-2 versus the Chargers. That's the all-time series lead. They've never met in the playoffs because obviously they'd have to meet in the championship.
Right.
Chargers don't make it there very often. Packers haven't been there for a little bit, but we do make it there at a pretty successful rate, I would say. But overall, the Packers have kind of dominated. The last meeting was in 2019, I believe, or 2020. And the Chargers ended up beating us in that one. But that was in LA. This one is in Lambeau. So We'll see if that makes a big difference. Hopefully it's packed with green and gold and not with yellow and blue. So go Pack, go, baby.
Yeah. So if you're just joining, Quay Walker and Rashawn Gary are playing. Jair Alexander and Rudy Ford are not playing. So we're going to be looking for just, as we go with what we're looking at in this game, it's really going to be watching more rookies, which I've talked pretty at length to end the show on Friday about rookies. The guys we're going to be watching, we obviously know what the guys on the offense are doing as far as the rookies are concerned. But now with no Jair and no Rudy Ford, that means big things for Carrington Valentine and Anthony Johnson Jr. Now, what I brought up with the rookies was the rookies have 8% of the Packers tackles. They have 18% of the Packers tackle for loss. Mm-hmm. And they have 23.8% of the Packers passes defensed.
So what's the one thing that Carrington Valentine and Anthony Johnson Jr. have in common for the Packers?
Both 7th-round picks?
Yes, very good. They are 2 of the 12 over the whole entire league that have 7th-round picks. 2 of the 12 7th-round picks in the NFL this year that have gotten playing time, and they're the only 2 this weekend that are starting. So that's going to be a big thing for this Packers team.
Yeah, you bring it up. So the 10 passes defense that have come from rookies this year, 5 of them were during the Rams game by Carrington Valentine, Anthony Johnson Jr., and 1 by Carl Brooks.
Let's go.
That's all rookies right there. Now, we talked about this too. Obviously, the running game is a hot topic of conversation, and people can continue screaming Fireberry. It's not going to happen until the season's over. Sorry.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I want to see Colby Wooden and Carl Brooks get more playing time, regardless of what the running defense is doing. I just want to see those guys playing more.
Yeah, that's what they need to grow, right?
Right. I think good things happen when they're on the field too. I think they're both actually very good players, and credit to Brian Gutekunst for his draft class this year. It's been extremely valuable.
Hey, well, there's something to say for the youth movement is if there's nothing else that you get fresh legs, right? You get guys that have zero experience and you're just gonna run like crazy. So if Kenny's getting gassed or if Slayton's getting gassed, and Slayton's a young guy too, but he's a big fella. Yeah. Just put Colby Wooden in. Put the rookies in, dude. Honestly, just let them go. Yeah. If you're going youth movement, you got to go for it, right?
Yeah, and I think today is one of those days where they can afford to maybe take an extra linebacker off the field at times.
Yep.
Not that, and there's nothing against Isaiah McDuffie. He's filled in admirably for Quay and Campbell when they've missed time.
Yeah.
Quay Walker has been good enough that he can be a one-man middle linebacker.
Agreed.
So you can put an extra defensive lineman on the line, and maybe that's something that actually benefits the Packers defense in a massive way today, is having Quay Walker patrolling the middle of the field.
True.
That's seriously, Quay Walker has become one of my favorite players on the Packers because of the leap that he's made from last year to this year.
Yeah, he's been very good.
It's honestly kind of crazy that he's gone missing 2 games and still leads the Packers in tackles. Like, I'm going to pull it up to make sure that that's still the case after last week, but I'm pretty sure that's still the case.
Well, I'm going to go over my matchup real quick. Because I wanted to really touch base on this. You can bring yours up as well. I think it'd be good to kind of refresh that. So for my matchup, I had Eckler versus the Packers linebacker. So I'm really happy that Quay Walker is one of those Packers linebackers because
he does lead the team in tackles.
He's still leading the team in tackles
by 8.
Oh my God. So over the last 2 weeks, Austin Eckler has been a lot better as he came into the season late, obviously, so he's starting to get his legs under him. So he's starting to look like the normal Austin Eckler. He's had 33 carries, 114 yards, 3 touchdowns, 14 targets in the passing game, 6 receptions, 71 yards. He's had passing receptions of 24 and 17 yards, and he's had rushes of 17 and 20 yards. So the guy just can make explosive plays. He's definitely an X-factor type of player in this game. So hopefully Quay is kind of spying him. I think that he can neutralize him in the run and pass game. So that is my matchup, and hopefully it works out in our favor.
Yeah, mine was the offensive line versus the Chargers pass rush. So the Packers last week, they played Alex Highsmith and TJ Watt and only allowed 1 sack.
Yep.
That actually, credit to Bryant, he picked Zach Tom as his underrated performer from last week's game, and that was a fantastic choice by him.
It was.
And Zach Tom could possibly be the underrated performer of the year so far on this team.
Yeah, I think there would be a long list of Packers that would be on the underrated performer. I think it'd be harder to pick like just a standout on offense and a standout on defense than it would to be underrated performer. That's just my personal opinion because there's been so many guys. This is what you get with young teams, right? You get this guy made an impact this game. This guy made an impact this game. It would be really hard to pick the underrated performer. It'd be a long list.
It would. I would be hard pressed to not pick Jaden Reed as the Packers offensive performer.
You wouldn't be wrong. He's tied for second in 30-yard receptions.
Yeah.
In the entire NFL. Not just on the team, on the entire NFL. He's behind one person, Tyreek Hill. The best deep threat in the NFL.
Yeah. Last thing that I want to throw out there is third downs. Third downs are going to be absolutely crucial between the Packers and Chargers. The Packers are number 8 in third downs on offense, number 13 in third downs on defense. So the Packers are pretty good on third downs, both sides of the ball. The Chargers are number 9 on offense and number 3 on defense. So we're seeing 2 teams that are both really good on third downs on both sides of the ball. It's going to be interesting to see how they do.
And 2 teams that are kind of fighting for their lives. I know people are going to look at our record at 3-6 and think that we have no shot because we're playing the Chargers and the Lions and the Chiefs. But, I don't know how many times you need to see something to believe that whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And unbelievable shit happens all the time.
Went on a 5-game win streak last year when people were like, oh, here we go, tank for a pick.
This is what sports is about, right? It's about just believing and always being there for your team no matter what. The Packers pull out a win today, dude. I'm telling you, the noise is going to start chirping, and then they have a chance to have a really, really solid week. Now, the Lions game is going to be really tough on the road on Thanksgiving, short week. We got to travel, but never say never, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, how many people had the Packers beating the Dolphins on Christmas last year?
Shit, nobody. Nobody.
And everybody that needed to lose that day lost that day too.
Yeah. What a day that was.
Brett, what's up? I mean, what it comes down to is just, I'm going to say it, it's execution.
Yep.
So the tackles, gotta tackle. And then you have to tackle.
Yep.
My heart cannot handle another 16 missed tackle game. Can't do it.
Well, to have 16 missed tackles, and don't get me wrong, the Pittsburgh Steelers have some playmakers. Warren is a good player. Deontay Johnson.
He's shifty, yeah.
I mean, they have some good players, but 16 missed tackles, that is just ridiculous.
Yeah,
if you cut that number in half and look at how good the Packers defense played after the first 2 drives, if you cut that missed tackle number in half, Packers probably win that game.
I would strongly agree with you.
So, I mean, it really comes down to that. And then, like everybody's been bringing up, and Bryant was the first to bring it up on Friday, is Jordan Love hitting his layups on offense, allowing guys to run after the catch, just hitting them for nice, good gains on third downs. I mean, if we could do the little things correct, like you bring up with basketball, right? The fundamental failures.
Yep.
If we could just take care of the fundamentals, don't hurt ourselves, we got a chance.
Yep. For everybody watching, if you want, throw your score predictions in the comments. We'll check them out. We'll give our thoughts on them. Yep. I'm really looking for rookies to make big plays today. We talk, every week we call them Simon Says. We do kind of like bold predictions for the week. Mm-hmm. And defensively, mine this week was for the rookies to get a turnover, 2 tackles for loss, and 2 passes defensed. Now, with Anthony Johnson Jr. playing, with Rudy Ford out, and Carrington Valentine is going to be playing basically 100% of the snaps, which I would think he's going to play 100% of the snaps with no Jair today.
Right.
I'm really looking for Carrington Valentine and Anthony Johnson Jr. to play like they did in the Rams game. Now, I get that you're playing Justin Herbert and not Brett Rippon, but still, it's still football, and they are the same players.
And, Herbert's still dealing with the little bit of the thumb and stuff like that. But also, if you just fly around, and you could force the issue, especially as a safety, right? You could force the issue. You could start smacking people, making sure that they want to alligator arm the next football when they go over the middle. Just make it hard for them. Do your job.
Yeah, and it's I'll read that in a second. You still look at the Rams. Yes, they had a backup quarterback playing, but they still have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua.
Yeah. The
Chargers have Keenan Allen.
Pretty much.
And Quentin Johnson, who was
he's going to be on a snap count now.
Right. It sounds like Keenan Allen is going to be on a snap count. The Chargers elevated 2 wide receivers, including former Badger Alex Erickson. So Brett wrote a novel in the comment section.
So put your seatbelts on, everybody. We're going on a trip.
Yeah. A huge radio cast. Bill Michaels this morning posted on his Facebook, the Packers aren't going to win, saying he only saw 1 RV and the whole parking lot was full, bashing the Packers, calling out people saying, I'll bet you 5,000 that Love isn't the guy. He calls himself a Wisconsin guy and saying early in the season he's worried for the Bucs. He doesn't deserve that title, Wisconsin sports guy. You guys do. I say Packers win 27-24. Man, we talk about this a lot, and it's why we do our show the way that we do it, and in advocating for just level-headed perspectives. And we talked about this with Mike Spofford on Friday night. We had him, the editor of Packers.com. We had him on the show again on Friday night. And just advocating for putting a different perspective on things. And for fuck's sake, just being patient once in a while.
Right.
I mean, even Giannis talked about it last night. They've played 13 games.
How many games do they have left in the season?
They have 69 games left to go.
Hey, nice.
I like that number. That's I saw Giannis say that, and I'm like, God, Giannis is a goofball just like the rest of us.
Yeah.
But you got to be patient. And Brett, for Bill Michaels to be like, oh, Jordan Love isn't the guy. How many guys are the guy? It's not super bold to be like, oh, well, this Packers draft pick might not work out. a lot of draft picks don't work out.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, you look at the history of the league, not everybody's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. That's why they have the Hall of Fame.
It's true.
It's you're taking, like, let's say, I don't know the exact percentage of players that are in the Hall of Fame, but let's just say it's 25%.
Mm-hmm.
You're staking a 75% claim that he's not the guy. Ooh, whoa, how bold of you.
Yeah, what's your definition of like the guy? Like guy that could be a quarterback for
look
10
at
years?
me taking 3-1 odds and being like, "Oh, I bet you I'm right." Like, okay,
Yeah, I'll bet you $5,000. Okay.
I bet you $5,000 that Giannis would beat Jake in a game of 1-on-1.
That is 100% odds. So
But like it doesn't do anything for you to make a prediction on something where the odds are in your favor. That doesn't make you bold. It doesn't make you right. It doesn't make you this oracle of prediction. No, it's just being a dick, straight up.
yeah, I agree. I'll take that basketball one more step further. I'll bet Giannis beats both of us 2-on-1.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
a beast.
probably.
He's a
He might not
beast.
be able to stop us from scoring every single time because we have two people, but
Right?
he's scoring on us every time.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be pretty.
I will say on the quote unquote the Packers aren't going to win. That's just being a dick. There's different ways you can say this. Like, we predicted the Packers to lose to the Chargers this game because we recognize that the Chargers have a good team. On paper, Chargers loaded.
They are
Absolutely loaded.
Yeah.
But that's why they play the games. That's why the Chargers are 4-5.
Yeah.
So that's why they play the games. And just being, the Packers aren't going to win, you can just say, I don't think the Packers are going to win. Here's why. And then we go a step further on our show by saying, here's how they could win. That's why we do 2 score predictions. We do one from the head, which is the more analytical one, and then we do one from the heart, which is the more optimistic, positive point of view perspective prediction. That's why we do the 2. Because we want to be optimistic and realistic at the same time.
Yep.
So we do one more analytic, and then we do one more optimistic. You can be both. It doesn't have to be, and I'm so fucking tired of hearing it's just sunshine and rainbows because you want to be positive. No. It's stupid. It's the stupidest comment. I'm so tired of hearing it. Because you can be optimistic and realistic. Just like every time I say somebody's being pessimistic or being negative, they're like, no, I'm just being realistic. No, you're being a douche. You're being negative, but you're trying to wear this mask of, I'm being realistic. No.
Well, on top of that, like, just, you saying everything's not sunshines and rainbows. Not everything's fucking death and doom either. You know what I mean?
True.
Like, you don't have to look at everything as black and white. Not everything has to be so cutthroat. It's either this or that. No, it doesn't have to be like that. You can look at something, that needs to improve, and you can be like, okay, well, if they would have did this, fix this, do, little tweaks here and there, I could see them, flipping that to a W. It's just little shit like that that like fine tunes your positivity in your brain, which will make you enjoy your life more. By the way,
100%.
Not just sports; it'll make you enjoy your entire life.
Yeah. That's one of the things that we hope to do by extension is by just changing the way that people can perceive their Wisconsin sports teams, that they can also apply those things to life too. It's bigger than us, not that we're, on this, big crusade of, changing the world or anything, but that's what we hope to do. So Brett said, those eyes he was doing, it's funny on the radio. He'll be like, to those love believers, give me one reason why you think he's the guy. I'll bet you he isn't. He's missing throws and everything. Bueller, he's like, that's right. What do you think people are going to do to you on the radio, dumbass? Let me just talk to you through the radio. Stupid. I'll throw out there for things to show that he is the guy. I've been pretty okay with his decision making. Yeah. I don't have complaints about his decision making. I don't think he's a bad decision maker. We've broken down several plays of him hitting the deep intermediate plays, like the 20, 25 yard downfield plays. I'll say the throw that he made to Jaden Reed in the end zone, that ball traveled 46 yards in the air.
48.
48? Damn. I thought it was 46. Looked like he was standing on the 46-yard line. Yeah. All right. Brett said also he's sitting in his suites that given to him and he's bashing them. He doesn't deserve the recognition. It's sad that he's labeled as a Wisconsin sports fan. And that's what we have to do, because unfortunately the phrase misery loves company, it is true. Like, you look at it more on like a psychological level, what it is that people need the validation. So they want somebody to give them the permission to feel negatively. And by having an outlet like that and doing that and then saying those things, you're giving people permission to feel the same way, which is what Jake and I are trying to do. We're trying to give people the not necessarily you need our permission, but it's just the permission to feel that you can still be optimistic even when the Packers are 3-6. And it doesn't have to mean that you're a homer about it, because there are those pages out there, and which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that either. Like, obviously, as long as you acknowledge it. But just being optimistic, even though things may on the record side of it may not look good, we still want to give that permission to feel optimistic because there are good things coming, we think.
Here's the biggest problem I have with people that are negative of, like, sunshines and rainbows. The people that say that shit and like complain about, the coaching and this and that, they don't know shit. Honestly, I'm just going to call it like I see it. That's the thing that makes me the most mad, is the ones that are saying, oh, blah, blah, this, blah, blah, that. Oh, we suck this, we suck that. Oh, time to mail it in, blah, 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 right? Whatever they want to say. Those people literally don't know shit. Like, I'll have conversations with them being like, oh, but what if this would have changed? And like, trying to not really like defend them, I guess, but like I'm like counteracting what they're saying, right? And I go in on there and I'm talking about Watson, I'm talking about Love. We talk about Jair, I could be talking about Kenny Clark, who I've had to defend a couple times this year. But they always just show that they have no IQ about football.
Yeah.
And then they get personal. And it's just that's when I look at my phone, I'm commenting on there and I just laugh and I'm just like,
you won. If somebody makes it personal, you've already won.
Yeah, I probably could have called that this was going to happen.
Yeah. Cody said, I think I'd rather guard Aaron Donald than Giannis.
Look at
Then he said, what if I comment negatively on every team's post? Cody, go for it. Let me know what it does for you.
No, putting the beaver out there for a reason, bro. Cody, if you make a post in the morning, before the game saying that it's game day and we need to beat so-and-so, then that gives you the right to post negatively about every team. So just remember that.
You can also throw out there, we saw the same thing last night with Badgers football. Badgers went down 14-0 in Nebraska, ended up winning 24-17, and then people look stupid. And you're right, Cody. It doesn't matter. You'll get notifications because people want the permission, the validation to feel negatively. It's so true. Bob said the same thing for Greg Gard haters. By the way, it's college basketball season, in-season tournament time on Monday. Wisconsin versus Virginia. Yep, very excited for that. Marquette versus UCLA in the Maui Invitational. That'll be actually a really entertaining game.
That's a good game.
Yeah. Brett said when the Bucks lost those 3 games on his title for his streams, Bucks need to be worried. I'm not worried because they'll gel and Coach Griffin will make adjustments. I made him quiet one time. You guys would love it. I said, Bill, you mentioned this earlier in the year. Bucks weren't doing anything. Made fun of me for believing in the Bucks while we won the title, and now I believe in the Bucks all that way, and that was the year they won it. Yeah. That feels better, I'm sure, than being like, oh, they're not going to win anything, and then they don't. Like, okay, you feel good about yourself?
Your team still lost. Idiot.
Yeah, you feel good about it? And again, I'll say this. Let's just go back to the NFL because the Packers play in an hour. You look at the NFL saying that, oh, the Packers aren't going to win the Super Bowl this year. How edgy of you. 31 out of 32 teams aren't going to win the Super Bowl this year.
And we're the youngest team in the league.
You can go a little bit further, say, oh, the Packers aren't even going to make the Super Bowl this year. 30 out of 32 teams don't make the Super Bowl every year. You could say, oh, the Packers aren't going to make the playoffs. 18 out of 32 teams aren't going to make the playoffs every year. It doesn't make you edgy. You're talking literally over 50% of the teams in the NFL don't make the playoffs. You saying that the Packers aren't going to be one of them is not edgy. It's not a bold thing. It doesn't make you this, like I said, this oracle of prediction. It doesn't do any of that.
It's like that's like the same people. Sorry, I gotta do this. If the shoe fits, the shoe fits. I'm sorry, but the people that like when everybody likes everything, they're just like, God, I hate that. Like, you not liking something doesn't make you cool. You could just like not like something and like shut the hell up about it, you know?
I'm gonna put Cody's comment on here because it's funny, but I think it also says something about people. Cody said Watson is having a slump year. Fire Joe Barry. I
Yeah.
will say, okay, on the subject of fire Joe Barry, what I've said is that he has not been in the top 5 of Packers problems this year. Maybe on some games, sure, or very outlier-ish plays, sure. But the thing is that you look at the Packers giving up 200 rushing yards last week, 16 missed tackles. The Steelers had 119 rushing yards after contact. Joe Barry doesn't miss tackles, and I swear to God, if I see one more person say that it's the coach's job to teach tackling, these guys are professional fucking football players who have been playing football their entire lives. They should know how to tackle before they get here. Cody said the year's not over, but it doesn't matter. I had 2 likes on the team's post, so everyone agrees.
Jesus, Cody, let that man breathe. Holy crap, man.
But listen, by me saying that Joe Barry isn't one of the Packers' biggest problems, it doesn't mean that I'm like a Joe Barry truther and think that he's like the best defensive coordinator in the NFL. It's a logical fallacy to do that, to go like, oh, well, he said Joe Barry's not a problem. That must mean he thinks he's a top 5 defensive coordinator in the NFL. It's not what that means. Taking me saying that it's not one of the biggest problems doesn't mean that I think it's one of the biggest strengths. It's stupid. Brett said I meant to say Bill said himself when they won it. He's like, I believe in them all year. That's when I called him out, and he skipped my comment. Yeah. Well, people don't like it when you check their receipts, and that's one of the things, unfortunately, is brought on by social media, is that eventually your comments, your posts just get lost in the shuffle. So I got to get the. Have you ever seen when Chris D'Elia, the comedian, is telling a story and somebody like starts to interrupt him and he just goes oops, and every time somebody tries to talk over him, he just goes oops. I need to get that, and I need to start posting it every time somebody whines in like the first quarter of a game. I just need to post the Chris D'Elia thing when the Packers or the Badgers or the Bucks win the game, and just post Chris D'Elia going oops.
I love Chris D'Elia, dude. He's awesome. He's awesome.
I did it on Badgers post last night because people were like, oh, here we go, another fickle pickle led team down 14-0 already, par for the course. I think I put oops, but I think I put 74 O's, like 16 P's and 4 S's on there just to be oops. Like, why? What do you possibly gain from being a douche essentially 11 minutes into the game and then watching them come back and win? The game is not over until the game is over. Bob said, I've been using your comments last week about mental health on the group page. Seems to shut the haters up. Thank you. It was needed. We appreciate you appreciating us and sharing our stuff. We appreciate that.
Love that.
So, and that's what it comes down to. And, you know, we'll get a little spicy at times when it comes to being anti-negativity. Bob said, Bob Cardetto, your chips are delicious. Oh my God.
Cody is so unserious right now, and
I know. Cody's been pre-gaming all morning, apparently. But it's really what it comes down to is we got to be able to have a little fun with it. He said
he
not
knows
related.
he's just being
funny. But that's what it comes down to. Like we do care about the mentality, the mental health, the representation of Wisconsin sports fans because that's who we are. So we would want those groups that we are a part of to reflect positively on us.
Yeah.
And that's why we carry ourselves the way that we do. But it does also mean at times that we will vehemently oppose the negativity.
Great.
So that's what we're here to do. If that interests you and you're not an avid follower of the show, Wednesdays we talk about the Bucks, the Brewers, the Badgers football and basketball teams. And then on Friday nights we do Packers shows. That's what it is. Our analysis from a positive, optimistic point of view. Again, it does not mean that it's just sunshines and rainbows. And all of our shows are live, so you can comment on them and comment along with us like we've been doing today. A lot of people have been putting comments in here, which we appreciate. And other than that, I think we will be back on Wednesday.
Back on Tuesday.
Tuesday, you're right. Shoot, you're right. Cody said phone is at Giannis %. I don't think he means 34 either. But yes, thank you for reminding me that Tuesday, because the Packers play on Thursday. So we'll be recapping today's game on Tuesday and previewing the matchup with the Lions on Thanksgiving for Thursday. It's wild that it's Thanksgiving already, which
I know, dude. Crazy.
Brett said you guys deserve sweets in that. My Bucks dealer will be trying to get those seats for Jake. Hey, we appreciate that too, Brett. Hopefully someday we're getting credentials, but until then, we'll be here doing our live shows every week. And then other than that, Bob said more conversation about mental health issues needs to be discussed. Strongly agree with that as well, which we've partnered with Mental Health America on some things too. And yeah, we care about it. So we're going to keep working it in.
If you guys are interested about mental health, Bob, you're talking about it. Tyler and I are giving away a scholarship to a high school kid. You can go, we have a link, or you can go to Mental Health America and find us on their page, and you can donate to our scholarship. We're going to be giving it to a kid that cares about sports and mental health. So I'll go check that out.
Yeah, very excited for that. So yes, Tuesday we'll be back. Also, tomorrow, be on the lookout. We have some Bucks play breakdowns coming from the Hornets game coming out tomorrow as well. So also check that out if you're a Bucks fan. All righty. See you Tuesday, bud.
Yep. See you Tuesday.